After a difficult day, Sarah, a mother of two, found herself exhausted and vulnerable, lying in bed with her mind racing about her relationship struggles with her partner, John. One evening, as she drifted into deep thought, her stepson, Mark, walked in unexpectedly. He had been trying to check in on her after noticing her low mood recently. This unexpected encounter created a sudden, intense vulnerability, highlighting the emotional gaps and loneliness she had been feeling. Both stepped back, shaken, realizing they needed to address their own emotional needs more openly and find support through healthier boundaries. Complex emotions are at the heart of any infidelity experience, weaving a web of contradictory feelings that can be as distressing as they are bewildering. Infidelity touches on fundamental human emotions like love, desire, guilt, betrayal, and vulnerability, each one often appearing in ways that surprise even those involved. In the context of family, the emotional complexity intensifies as people grapple with roles and responsibilities that extend beyond a traditional romantic relationship. Love and loyalty to a spouse or partner can clash with new or hidden desires, creating inner turmoil that is rarely easy to reconcile. The person involved in the affair may feel torn between their love for their partner and the spark of excitement or comfort they find in someone else, leading to a cycle of guilt and longing that complicates their emotions further. Guilt is an inevitable part of infidelity, especially when it happens within the context of a close-knit family. For example, a person involved with a family member's partner may feel a heightened sense of shame because they are aware of the emotional damage their actions could cause to people they care about. This guilt can become a heavy burden, lingering in their thoughts and weighing down their every interaction with those who remain unaware. The sense of wrongdoing might prevent them from feeling fully present in any of their relationships, creating an emotional barrier that isolates them. Guilt in these cases is rarely a fleeting feeling. It often settles in as a constant reminder of the ethical lines crossed and the hearts that stand to be broken. On the other hand, there is often a paradoxical sense of emotional relief or fulfillment that accompanies infidelity. The person involved might experience a deep sense of connection, validation, or even liberation in their secret relationship. This relief may emerge because the affair provides an escape from the challenges or unmet needs within their primary relationship. Perhaps their partner has grown emotionally distant, or the everyday stresses of life have eroded the intimacy they once shared. In the presence of someone new, they may feel seen, appreciated, or understood in ways that they have not felt for a long time. This fulfillment can bring joy, but also adds to the complexity of emotions they experience because it exists in direct opposition to the loyalty and love they may still feel toward their primary partner. An affair can also introduce a great deal of fear, especially in cases where it involves family members or people closely connected to the family. Fear of exposure, fear of judgment, and fear of losing not only a partner but also close relationships with family or friends can create a constant state of anxiety. This fear can become so overwhelming that the person involved might go to great lengths to keep the affair hidden, which only serves to heighten their stress. They may find themselves lying, making excuses, or withdrawing from social interactions to avoid arousing suspicion. The impact of this stress often spills over into their daily life, affecting their ability to focus, engage, and even sleep. The ever-present worry about the affair being discovered keeps them on edge, creating a fragile emotional state that can spiral into panic or depression. Meanwhile, the desire and excitement often associated with infidelity come with their own set of emotional complications. Forbidden relationships have a way of amplifying passion, and the thrill of secrecy can intensify feelings of desire. The person involved may experience heightened attraction toward their secret partner, fueled by the knowledge that their interactions are not permitted. However, this desire is often accompanied by the unsettling awareness that the foundation of the relationship is built on secrecy and lies. The thrill of the affair may be invigorating in the moment, but it frequently leaves behind a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction once the excitement fades. The person involved may begin to question whether their feelings are genuine or simply a product of the forbidden nature of the relationship, leading to self-doubt and internal conflict. Anger and resentment are also common emotions in cases of infidelity. People involved in an affair might feel resentment toward their primary partner, believing that unmet needs or a lack of emotional support push them toward infidelity. This resentment can create a distancing effect, as they unconsciously seek to justify their actions by blaming their partner for the emotional void they felt. At the same time, they might also feel anger directed inward, knowing that their actions are hurtful or damaging to people they care about. This internal conflict can generate a destructive cycle, where they oscillate between blaming others and blaming themselves, never fully resolving their feelings of anger. The aftermath of infidelity is often marked by profound confusion, as people involved struggle to make sense of their emotions and their actions. They may feel pulled in different directions by love, guilt, anger, and desire, leading to a state of emotional paralysis where they are unable to decide what they truly want. This confusion is compounded by the knowledge that any decision they make, whether to confess, to end the affair, or to continue living with the secret, will have significant consequences. The pressure of this indecision can cause people to feel stuck, as if they are suspended in a liminal space where no choice seems completely right or entirely wrong. The complexity of these emotions reflects the deep psychological and emotional impact of infidelity, leaving those involved questioning not only their relationships but also their values, desires, and even their sense of self. The secrecy and tension created by infidelity can transform even the most familiar relationships into high-stakes emotional battlegrounds. For those involved, hiding an affair often requires a complete shift in how they interact with the people around them, especially close family or friends who might easily pick up on changes in their behavior. The necessity of maintaining secrecy becomes both a psychological burden and a defining part of their day-to-day life. Every word spoken and every move made may be carefully calculated to avoid suspicion, creating an ongoing state of tension that is emotionally exhausting. This secrecy doesn't just require lying to others, it often demands self-deception as well. To live with the guilt and the fear of discovery, people involved in an affair may downplay or rationalize their actions, convincing themselves that they are not causing as much harm as they know. Deep down, they are. The tension extends into every aspect of a person's relationships. Friends, family members, and especially partners become potential sources of discovery, making every interaction a potential risk. The strain of constantly hiding the truth creates a duality in the individual's personality. They may find themselves playing a role, maintaining a facade to protect their secret. This often leads to emotional detachment from loved ones, as the person finds it too painful or too risky to engage with them openly. Small changes in behavior, like becoming more withdrawn or irritable, may start to show, and the person may grow paranoid, worried that someone might notice or question these shifts. Conversations, even the most innocent ones, can feel like a trap or a threat, and moments of silence can feel like accusations. The weight of these hidden relationships turns ordinary interactions into mental minefields, where every word must be chosen carefully to avoid revealing too much. Keeping an affair secret also heightens the sense of isolation experienced by the individual. Relationships thrive on honesty and open communication, so living with a secret disrupts this natural exchange and creates an emotional chasm between the person and their loved ones. This isolation isn't just emotional, it's also physical at times, as the person may go out of their way to avoid being alone with people who might detect something amiss. They may spend more time away from home or keep odd hours to create time for the affair, leaving their partner or family with questions they cannot answer truthfully. This physical absence, coupled with emotional withdrawal, creates a ripple effect on their primary relationship, often making the other person feel neglected or even suspicious without understanding the reason. The lack of connection can grow into resentment or mistrust on both sides, further complicating the emotional landscape of the relationship. To isolation, people involved in an affair often feel a persistent sense of anxiety that feeds into the tension they live with every day. This anxiety is not only about being caught but also about the potential consequences that discovery would bring. They worry about how their partner will react, how their family and friends might view them, and what the fallout will be for everyone involved. This constant worry becomes like a low hum in the background, never fully going away and often surfacing in unexpected ways, such as a quickened heart rate when their partner asks a simple question, or a sudden flash of panic when they see a familiar car passing by. The vigilance required to maintain secrecy keeps them in a state of hyper-awareness as they analyze their words and actions for anything that might give away their secret. Even moments that should bring relief, like time spent with the affair partner, may be overshadowed by this anxiety, as the fear of discovery lingers. One of the most challenging aspects of living with this level of secrecy is the constant need for deception, which becomes a kind of second nature. Lying about small things becomes a habit, a reflexive way to avoid questions that might lead to uncomfortable truths. This habit of deception can begin to erode the person's sense of self and integrity. In many cases, people start to feel that they are no longer the person they once were, as the layers of lies and secrecy bury their genuine personality and values. They may feel ashamed or disgusted with themselves, unable to reconcile their actions with their self-image. This internal conflict creates even more tension, as they struggle to keep up the facade while dealing with the guilt and self-doubt that eats away at their confidence and self-esteem. Over time, the act of hiding the affair can change their entire outlook on life, as they come to see every interaction as a potential threat to their carefully constructed secret life. The impact of secrecy is also felt by the person with whom they are having the affair. This individual may also feel the strain of keeping the relationship hidden, as they are often placed in the role of a confidant, yet must also be cautious and guarded. The affair partner may feel undervalued, as they are always a hidden part of the person's life, never acknowledged publicly or given the same priority as a traditional partner. They, too, are affected by the secrecy, feeling both the thrill of their secret relationship and the sadness of being kept in the shadows. This duality creates tension within the affair itself, as the affair partner may feel both cherished and disregarded, knowing that they are part of a secret that may never be fully acknowledged. This tension can strain the affair, as both parties struggle with the limitations secrecy places on their connection and the way it prevents them from truly being open and honest with each other. The longer the secrecy lasts, the more difficult it becomes to imagine a life without it. People caught in this web of lies often fear that they cannot extricate themselves without severe consequences. The tension becomes a part of their identity, as they become so accustomed to hiding, lying, and concealing their actions that they no longer know how to be open or truthful. They live in a perpetual state of limbo, where their relationships are fragmented, their emotions are compartmentalized, and their ability to experience genuine intimacy is stunted. Infidelity frequently plunges those involved into profound moral and ethical dilemmas, as they grapple with the conflict between their desires and their commitments. This inner struggle touches on questions of loyalty, integrity, and personal responsibility, forcing individuals to confront parts of themselves they might otherwise prefer to avoid. At the heart of these dilemmas is the challenge of reconciling the pleasure or validation gained from the affair with the harm it could bring to others. Often, people engaged in infidelity find themselves questioning the very values they once held dear, as they face the painful realization that their actions might betray their deepest principles. This clash between who they thought they were and what they are doing can lead to a crisis of identity, as they feel trapped between the person they are in the affair and the person they are in their established relationships. One of the core ethical dilemmas faced in infidelity is the breach of trust. For many people, trust is a foundation of their primary relationship, something they have built over years of shared experiences and mutual support. Infidelity shatters this foundation, turning what was once solid and dependable into something fragile and uncertain. The act of betraying someone's trust can be deeply unsettling, especially for people who pride themselves on their honesty and loyalty. They may feel an intense sense of guilt and self-loathing, questioning how they could betray someone who loves and trusts them. This self-betrayal is often more difficult to bear than the guilt of lying to others, as it shakes their own belief in their ability to uphold their values. In many cases, Those involved in an affair must also grapple with the ethical implications of hiding their actions from their partner or loved ones. Deception becomes a necessary part of maintaining the affair, leading to a series of small lies and omissions that can weigh heavily on the conscience. This deception isn't always limited to the person's partner, friends, family, and even colleagues might be drawn into the web of secrecy, as the person tries to prevent any chance of discovery. Each lie compounds the ethical burden, making it more difficult to imagine coming clean without destroying multiple relationships. For some, this means choosing to live with the secret indefinitely, hoping that they can somehow keep it hidden without damaging the lives of those around them. Yet this secrecy often gnaws at their sense of integrity, creating an inner conflict that can be emotionally exhausting. The ethical dilemmas of infidelity also extend to questions of fairness. Those involved in an affair may recognize the inherent unfairness of their actions, especially if their partner is committed to them wholeheartedly. The realization that they are enjoying an emotional or physical connection outside of the relationship while their partner remains loyal can bring a sense of shame and discomfort. This awareness of inequality within the relationship can lead to feelings of resentment toward themselves or even toward their partner, as they struggle to justify or rationalize their actions. Some people attempt to balance this perceived unfairness by overcompensating in other areas, like being more attentive or generous, yet these gestures often feel hollow, as they are motivated by guilt rather than genuine affection. The ethical strain of trying to make up for infidelity without addressing it directly can be deeply frustrating, leaving the person feeling trapped in a cycle of unfulfilled promises and false gestures. Another moral dilemma often faced in infidelity is the question of honesty versus protection. Many people involved in an affair struggle with whether or not to tell their partner, torn between the desire to be truthful and the fear of causing irreparable harm. Some may feel that revealing the affair would bring a sense of relief or closure, allowing them to move forward with a clean slate. However, they may also worry about the devastating impact this revelation could have on their partner, who might feel blindsided, humiliated, and betrayed. This ethical debate between transparency and protection becomes a painful balancing act, as the person tries to weigh the benefits of honesty against the potential destruction of their relationship. They may convince themselves that keeping the affair a secret is actually kinder, believing that their partner is better off not knowing. Yet this justification often rings hollow, as it is typically more about preserving their own comfort than protecting their partner's feelings. For some, the ethical dilemmas of infidelity lead to an exploration of their relationship itself, as they question why they were drawn to someone else in the first place. They may begin to analyze the flaws in their relationship, wondering if unaddressed issues, unmet needs, or emotional distance led them to seek connection outside the partnership. This exploration can bring both clarity and confusion, as they confront the difficult truth that their relationship may not be fulfilling them in the ways they need. The affair becomes a catalyst for self-reflection, forcing them to examine not only their own behavior but also the dynamics of their primary relationship. Yet this self-examination can be painful, as it requires acknowledging that their dissatisfaction may have more to do with their own inability to communicate or connect than with their partner's failings. The ethical challenge, then, is to take responsibility for their role in the relationship, rather than using the affair as a way to avoid confronting their own shortcomings. The impact of these moral and ethical struggles often extends beyond the individuals directly involved, affecting family members, friends, and even children who might sense the tension but not understand its source. The ethical burden of hiding the affair from loved ones can lead to strained relationships, as people become more guarded, withdrawn, or defensive. They may feel uncomfortable being around friends or family members who might ask questions or offer support, fearing that any vulnerability could lead to unintentional revelations. The need to maintain this ethical boundary, keeping the affair a secret while trying to appear normal, creates a deep-seated tension that affects every aspect of their life. This isolation often exacerbates feelings of guilt and shame, as they realize that their actions have ripple effects far beyond the boundaries of their personal life. The moral and ethical dilemmas of infidelity are a reflection of the complex interplay between desire, loyalty, and personal responsibility. Those involved are forced to confront their values and make difficult choices that reveal their deepest fears and insecurities. They must navigate the harsh reality that they cannot undo the harm their actions may cause, no matter how much they might wish otherwise. The experience of grappling with these ethical challenges often leads to profound self-reflection, as they confront not only the consequences of their actions but also the person they have become. This journey through moral conflict, guilt, and self-examination is a challenging and often lonely path, leaving them with a choice between facing the painful truth or continuing to live in a state of ethical compromise. The emergence of unexpected relationships in the context of infidelity often adds layers of complexity and confusion to an already strained emotional landscape. These relationships are not typically the result of deliberate choices, but rather arise out of circumstances where emotional vulnerability, unmet needs, or deep personal struggles create openings for unexpected connections. This makes these relationships difficult to categorize or understand, as they blur the lines between emotional intimacy, companionship, and attraction. For many, the development of an emotional connection outside their primary relationship feels both thrilling and illicit, feeding into the tension that underlies the affair. This often leads to a powerful, albeit often misguided, belief that the new relationship is somehow more fulfilling or authentic than the one they are currently in. However, these emotions are usually shaped by the secrecy and the forbidden nature of the affair, which can intensify feelings of connection and attachment, even if they are not based on a true, sustainable emotional foundation. In the case of infidelity, it's common for a person to find themselves emotionally drawn to someone they might not have otherwise considered. Emotional connections can form quickly, especially when people find themselves in a state of vulnerability. For example, a partner in a long-term relationship may begin to feel neglected, undervalued, or misunderstood. They may turn to someone else, perhaps a friend, colleague, or even a family member seeking comfort, validation, or simply someone who listens. This emotional intimacy is often the gateway to deeper feelings, even though these feelings may be rooted in unmet emotional needs rather than a genuine connection with the affair partner. The initial bond may be built on shared experiences, personal revelations, or moments of emotional support, which can create a false sense of connection. This connection often feels more immediate and intense than the relationships they have with their primary partner, leading them to believe that they have found something more authentic or fulfilling, even if it is not based on the full picture of the affair partner's life and feelings. The emotional attachment in these relationships can become so strong that it clouds judgment, often leading to people justifying the affair as a way to find something they feel is missing from their current relationship. This creates an emotional tug-of-war between their loyalty to their spouse or partner and their growing attachment to the affair partner. The emotional connection with the affair partner can feel like a release, providing an escape from the emotional stagnation or dissatisfaction they might feel in their primary relationship. This newfound emotional bond may make the affair seem like an expression of true love, care, or affection, even though it is often a temporary solution to deeper relationship issues. This illusion of finding someone who understands them better or completes them can be deceiving, as it does not address the underlying issues within the primary relationship or the emotional fragility that led to the affair in the first place. At the same time, the development of unexpected relationships can lead to intense feelings of guilt and confusion. People involved in an affair may feel torn between their loyalty to their partner and the emotions they have developed for the affair partner. This internal conflict can be emotionally draining, as they struggle to reconcile the love they feel for their primary partner with the attraction and emotional dependency that has formed with the affair partner. The affair can become a kind of emotional refuge, a place where they can experience validation and attention that they may not feel in their marriage or long-term relationship. However, this emotional safety is built on a foundation of dishonesty and secrecy, which eventually complicates and undermines the connection. The emotional attachment to the affair partner can become a double-edged sword, as it leads to both a sense of fulfillment and an ever-growing tension between the two worlds that the person is trying to inhabit. In some cases, the affair partner may also begin to develop an emotional attachment, compounding the complexity of the situation. Initially, they might enter the affair seeking a casual connection or simply out of mutual attraction, but as the relationship progresses, they too can become emotionally invested. This deepening emotional bond can make it more difficult for the person involved to end the affair or even acknowledge the harm it is causing. The affair partner may also feel a sense of rejection or frustration if they perceive that the emotional connection is not being reciprocated in the same way. In some cases, this imbalance in emotional investment can lead to feelings of insecurity or jealousy, especially if the person involved in the affair is still emotionally tied to their primary partner. This complex emotional dynamic makes the affair not just a matter of physical attraction or infidelity, but a tangled web of emotional needs, desires, and conflicts that can be difficult to navigate. The emotional complexity deepens when the affair partner and the person involved in the affair begin to consider the long-term implications of their connection. They may fantasize about a future together, imagining a life free from the constraints of their current relationships. However, this future is often unrealistic, built on the idealized version of their emotional bond rather than the reality of what a relationship outside the affair might entail. The affair may offer an escape from the dissatisfaction they feel in their primary relationship, but it does not necessarily resolve the deeper issues that cause the emotional disconnection in the first place. In many cases, the relationship with the affair partner is not sustainable in the long run, as it is founded on the emotional highs of secrecy and the desire to escape rather than on a healthy, honest foundation. The emotional attachment that forms may create unrealistic expectations, and when these expectations are not met, it can lead to further disillusionment and emotional turmoil. To the internal emotional struggle, the unexpected relationship may also create tension with the people around them, further complicating the emotional landscape. The person involved may feel torn between their new emotional connection and their existing relationships, and may have to manage increasingly difficult lies and excuses to protect their secret. As the emotional attachment grows stronger, so does the pressure to hide it from others, which often creates feelings of isolation and anxiety. The affair partner may also experience similar tensions, especially if they start to feel that they are being kept in the shadows or are not receiving the full emotional commitment they seek. This can lead to resentment or insecurity on their part, making it even harder to maintain the secrecy of the relationship. The emotional strain of managing these conflicting attachments often leads to a breakdown in communication, both with the primary partner and with the affair partner, as each person becomes more preoccupied with protecting their own emotional interests. The emotional connections formed in unexpected relationships during infidelity are complex, fragile, and often unsustainable. While they may provide temporary relief or excitement, they are rarely based on a solid foundation of trust, transparency, or long-term compatibility. Instead, they arise from a web of emotional needs and desires that cannot be fully understood or fulfilled in the context of secrecy and betrayal. The journey through infidelity is an emotional labyrinth, where secrecy, guilt, moral dilemmas, and unexpected emotional attachments all intertwine, creating a deeply complex and often painful experience. Those involved in such relationships find themselves constantly battling between the desire for self-fulfillment and the reality of the damage their actions cause to those they love. The emotional toll of navigating these difficult feelings can leave lasting scars, both on the individuals and the relationships they are a part of. Ultimately, infidelity reveals the fragility of human connections, exposing the vulnerabilities and unmet needs that often go unaddressed. The emotional complexities that arise are not easily resolved, but they offer a powerful lesson in the importance of honesty, communication, and self-awareness in any relationship. By facing these challenges head-on, individuals can learn to better understand themselves, their needs, and the significance of maintaining trust and integrity in their connections with others.